Welcome to Business Over Beer, where entrepreneurs, small business owners, and people passionate about what they do bring us their stories and their favorite beer. Hosted by Ben Surratt, Jonathan Kaler, and Jason Knope, it's time to get down to business and drink some beer.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the second biggest podcast in the Pacific Northwest. Yes, folks, I know, 2022, and we're still on the heels of those pesky, sapsy Sasquatch hunters, but I know for a fact that this episode will bring us to the apex, and we will reign supreme in the Pacific Northwest. That's right, this is Business Over Beer. I'm your co-host, Ben Surratt. Alongside me, playing center field, is the man of the hour, the terror of power. Some people call him Man Bun. Some people call him a sapsy cowboy. But we call him the Great Bambino of Ridgefield, Mr. Spartacus, Jonathan Kaler. We're at a baseball field. Welcome.
Hey, man. Thank you so much. It's Friday. We're podcasting.
Did you like my baseball voice?
I loved your baseball voice. That was fantastic. Maybe Gus will give you a job. I don't know.
Can I have a job?
Keep auditioning.
There you go. There you go. I think you still got a face and a voice for podcasting.
That's for sure.
But it's Friday. I can't think of a better way to kick off the weekend than drinking a little beer, talking a little baseball.
Love it.
And, I mean, there is no possible way that this episode we can strike out.
No, never.
And speaking of striking out, we have got with us, as always, the gift that keeps on giving. He is that gangsta of Hazeldale. Are you guys down with the K-N-O-P-P?
Yeah, you know me.
Jason Knope, welcome to Business Over Beer, my friend. How you feeling tonight?
I am feeling fantastic. How was that, Ben? Was that good?
That was good.
I mean, it's Friday. We're podcasting again, earlier than normal. But, I mean, if you can see the day outside behind us, it's gorgeous out here. We're at the baseball field, and we are here with Gus Farah, Executive Vice President of the Ridgefield Raptors. How you doing today, Gus?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys. Wow, I don't have that much energy this early in the morning, but no, it's great to have you out. I know we've talked for a while about getting out here and looking at the park at Ridgefield Outdoor Recreation Complex, talking all things Ridgefield Raptors. Gives me hope this morning with the weather, and there's a team out there practicing right now. I've had my fingers crossed for a few weeks because I was wondering, are we going to have any kind of good weather and not cold and wet and windy weather? But looks like we're on our way.
And blizzard and hail conditions that we've had in the past week. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for hosting us, letting us come out and see your awesome facility here. We always like to start with your business, so maybe just give us the 50,000-foot view of the Ridgefield Raptors and kind of what you're into.
Perfect. So 2018, the city of Ridgefield and the school district went into a collaboration. They wanted to build a facility, not for us, but for the community, because it's growing so fast out here in Ridgefield. And they built this facility, which you can't see all of it, which has a dedicated baseball field behind us, has a dedicated soccer field that is world class, and then it has some little league fields, and it has a football field, and this gorgeous school over to my left that they needed because they're growing so fast and bursting at the seams. So with that, there was an opportunity, and that was that they wanted a full-time tenant. And they were looking for a baseball team. There were a couple options at the time. There was the Great West League, that is a college summer wood bat league. That league is folded, and it folded about 8 months after their discussions, so they made a good decision. And then we came along because we own the Cowlitz Bears up in Longview, and we were part of the West Coast League, which at the time had 11 teams and now has 16 teams. And they asked who owned the territory to Ridgefield. And we did, because we were already up in Longview. So we decided to get into negotiation with the city of Ridgefield. We cut a long-term deal. We'll be here at least for 10 years, but I'm sure it'll be longer. And we're the main tenant during the summer, from June 1st, basically, through August 15th. We'll play 31 home games this year. So we brought our business, and it's been a community little love affair. I'm not trying to be sappy. But somebody used sappy earlier. But it's really become a community love affair with the community here in Ridgefield, but also in Southwest Washington. Our business is Southwest Washington. It's not just Ridgefield.
I think a lot of people don't think of a baseball team as a small business, but that was one of the things when we first met you that you really talked to us about, is that you have a business to run and that you are a local small business. So I'm excited to talk about the business and kind of get into that and a little bit about your background. But Gus, this is the Business Over Beer podcast.
Got it.
This is the beer portion of the program, and we have selected a baseball themed beer segment to start. What's that famous song that they sing at the 7th inning stretch? What's that song called?
Take me out to the ballpark.
Yeah, and how does that go?
Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks.
That's it. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. So what we have done, Gus, is we have brought some homemade from Canope, the house of Canope. We've got some homemade Cracker Jack.
Mom Canope.
Mom.
Not,
right.
We need to be specific.
Okay.
Mom. Step
And
up.
peanuts.
Yeah.
And matching that with the Belching Beaver peanut butter flavored milk stout. So peanuts and Cracker Jack, that is the theme for this beer segment.
Thanks, sir.
Well, Gus, thanks again for having us. We really appreciate it.
thank you.
Prost.
Prost.
Bros, guys.
Tink.
Tink. Oh, man, it smells fantastic.
It's got a lot of bitterness from the barley and the hops. Almost got a coffee
Yep. Yeah.
flavor to it. I really like this.
Yeah, it's
I get a small kind of little bit of booziness at the very beginning, and then just goes away. It just washes away.
And of course, oh, look
It's
at
smooth.
that.
Man.
Oh, look at
that's
that
a
with
good
some
piece.
Cracker Jack.
That's a good piece.
Hey, you guys probably wish you could do your show this early every Friday.
well, Gus. So many questions. I love baseball. What makes baseball such a great sport?
Well, I mean, look, the cliche, it's America's pastime, but that's too cliche-ish. I think it's a slower game, which is a problem for some people, right? That baseball is challenged with right now because of the new generations and their desire to have instant gratification. But I think for fans that come out here or to any baseball game, it's the pace of it. You can get to know the players because you have time in between pitches, in between innings. You definitely get to know their characteristics more, I think, because, again, of the time that it takes to play a game, 2.5 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
I think it's just a good, clean sport that people understand across, like for us, it's a generational fan. It's grandma and grandpa, it's mom and dad, and it's the kids. So I'm not without breaking it down, you obviously know grandma and grandpa grew up with it. The parents definitely had they absorbed it somehow, and the kids are just starting to understand it and play it potentially along with other things. So I think that it's just a good, clean night to come out to a game, enjoy a cold one, whatever your passion for that is. Have a hot dog, not have to be rushed, and just get to know who's on the field.
Yeah.
So I think it's this glamour for people that like it of understanding the history. Same thing that are the positives, and the question you asked are also the same challenges that baseball's having, which it's not for everybody. It takes a while.
Yeah.
It's slow sometimes.
Yeah.
But your product, the West Coast League, this neighborhood,
Yep.
Game and this family-friendly entertainment has a different goal than a Major League Baseball team, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, there's two reasons that the kids come here, okay? First of all, they have to have a year of eligibility left in college, so they have to be able to have time to go back to their college. So they can't be graduates that have no more time. So there's really two goals of why the kids come here. One is they just want to become higher level college players. Number two is they want to be drafted. In any one year, the league will have, 40, 50, 60 kids drafted from the West Coast League into the Major League system. I think we had some 40 to 50 on opening day rosters this year.
Wow.
So those are really the two goals. They're going to either become better players in college, and those are high level, or number two is that they want to play professional baseball. So they don't come here because they're getting paid. They come here because they're improving their trade. And it's a grind. I mean, these kids have been playing since January, February, back at school, whether it's University of Portland, Oregon State, Oregon, San Jose State, wherever they're coming from. And they're tired. They're fatigued. They've been away from their families, their girlfriends, which can be a problem for some. But, they now are going to enter into 60 games in 70 days, and they're going to get a feel for what it's like to go on a bus, what it's like to stay at a Holiday Inn or Best Western, with $20 of per diem or whatever, and if it's for them. And at the end of the season, they're going to shake our hands and they're going to say, thank you for the opportunity. I think I'm going to study and be a NASA scientist, or you know what, I'm going to keep grinding because I want to do this for a profession. But it really separates them, where they really get the first feel for how thankless it can be as you're making your trek to the major leagues, if that's what you're trying to do.
And are most of the players from around here?
We have a lot. We have a lot of from around here. There's one other element I haven't mentioned, is that graduating high school seniors can play if they're already committed to a college for next year. So they'd go back in the fall and start their college degree time playing on a team. So we have a few. You can only have X amount of them because it's hard for them to compete at this level. But those are the best of the best generally. So we always like to try and take the best high school graduating seniors from around Southwest Washington and have them on the team. But where do the kids come from? Some of the schools this year that we're going to have are, Dixie State in Utah, San Jose State, Cal State Fullerton, Oregon State, University of Portland, community colleges. We're going to have kids from community colleges that play. It's
what about international?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those kids are already playing college, so they're in the States playing.
That makes sense.
I do get a request to take a look at kids that are either in Japan or South Korea or South America that are trying to break in, but typically they're already at a college.
Huh. Is that a different rule you got to follow for international?
No, I mean, again, are they going to a college next year?
That's the big thing.
You can't just be playing independent baseball out there and you're never going to go to a school. You can't end up in the West Coast League. So we follow NCAA rules.
Got it.
So that's kind of the connection there.
So tell us a little bit about your background. So how did you end up in baseball? Are you from this area, and kind of what is your background, and kind of what led you into the ownership group with the Raptors?
Great question. So I was born in Cuba. I came over when I was 3 years old, trying to get away from the government, and my parents brought me here. We moved to Portland December 27th when it was really cold. I don't know how they did it, but they had family here. So just kind of speeding along. I spent 17 years running radio stations for CBS Radio in Portland. We had 5 stations, and I ran the revenue side of those stations. And then I had a family tragedy that really made me take a double think and a timeout from career, because it was just, I lost a stepson. And I decided to make a change, and I went over to the Portland Trail Blazers for 8 years, and I was sponsorship sales manager, and I loved it. I really did. So it was a little bit bigger stage, different stage in the radio, but it was all about creating revenue. I went on a very innocent call, a meeting with a friend of mine who said he was going to meet Tony Bonacci, who was one of our primary owners, who had already owned Cowlitz for 8-9 years at that time. And he said he was going to meet Tony at the airport hotel, at an airport hotel, because he wanted to talk to him about buying in to the ownership, because Ridgefield was going to come on board. And he was going to sell some racehorses he had, and he wanted to get into a different business. He loved baseball. We coached a little league together, so we knew each other. And I went on this meeting innocently to just say hi and meet Tony. And one thing led to another, and they asked me if they made it work, for me and my family, if I would consider, because they had to launch Ridgefield and they needed somebody that could think of the operations part, which is an event. They had to think about the revenue side to be able to fund it all, and mature enough of managing people. And that all fit my background. I love baseball, I already gave the answer, which is why do people like baseball? Mm-hmm. It's in my heart. I grew up with it. My dad loved it. My boy played and went to college. And I am just an amateur coach, and I want to know it all. Want to know everything about it and have an opinion. So I did it. And it was a bit of I don't know if risk is the word, but here I am. And 4 years later, we've launched this team. I run the Cowlitz team as well. We've had some rebuilding to do up there on our business, and things are really looking positive. We've added 4 teams to the WCL, 4 or 5 teams since I came on. So that tells you that there's an interest for people to invest in getting teams. We have 5 in Canada, and the rest are down here in the United States, Oregon, Washington. So anyway, that's kind of the background of how I ended up here.
That's awesome.
So you mentioned the Cowlitz Bears, right? So they're part of the West Coast League as well. So I want to talk a little bit about the business side of this.
Yeah.
So what is the revenue generation side? How do you run this business? And then kind of the follow up to that is you've got these 2 teams. I'm curious if are there benefits of having 2 teams? Are there efficiencies that you can leverage that help you be more profitable, or do you really run them as 2 separate businesses under one umbrella?
I think that there are some common platforms that do have a scale of economy, but that's not, I think, the first way I look at it. I look at it for efficiency, which you mentioned. When I got here, when I went to expand myself from Ridgefield to also Cowlitz, one of the challenges I had was that I was running 2 businesses 2 basically entirely different ways, and I'm not smart enough to know how one runs and how the other runs, and I have to look at data from one and the other. I have to look at how we do things from one to the other. So yeah, I've brought in some common ways that we do things at both teams. Where I can manage I got 2 full-time employees in Ridgefield here in Southwest Washington. I have 2 full-time employees in Cowlitz. We also hire 40 additional seasonal employees, kids, during the summer. High school kids, college kids that work with us at each park. So that's about 80 that we hire for the 2 parks during the summer. Wow. So we're really proud of that. It's really a positive for the community, and these kids love it. It's just baseball. So the efficiencies are that I have 1 business office. That saves me a little bit, but really it's about the efficiently running them the same way. At least we don't cookie cutter it so that they're vanilla and generic, but we know what we have to do the same way. Just how do we get there for both teams? So that's really important. And they're coming into one fold now. I bring the Cowlitz staff down to Ridgefield to meet every other week because we're talking about the same things. Today, we're sending the program ad that we distribute to all fans for free at the games to the printer for both teams. Well, yeah, we have to do independent work, but we can also communicate because it's the same problem.
Yeah.
So.
And you probably want, I would think from the branding perspective, you want sort of the look and feel to be very similar.
Yeah, we have different markets, right? Longview's a different market than Southwest Washington.
Sure.
So I always take that into consideration. But, I mentioned this earlier, and I just want to bring it up again. The filter that I put everything through for both teams is family, affordable, entertainment, respect, and not getting out there and being too some minor league teams and even the college summer wood bat teams, you'll see that their approach is to be out on the edges all the time. Funny, maybe a little dirty. That's not us. It's just not who we are. That's okay. They all work. But for my fans, they don't work. So
Yeah.
Gus, have you found that you had to change your marketing message at all? You had mentioned that the current generation doesn't necessarily like the slower pace of the game. Yeah. What have you guys had to do to kind of try to develop that and nurture it?
If I was that smart, I wouldn't be at the College Summer Wood Bat League. I'd be in the Major League Baseball because that's their problem, right? Yeah. That's what they're faced. But, I can give you some statistics of what our results are from marketing because that's kind of the question you're asking. We use 3 platforms, mostly social media. We use Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So we use Facebook more than I want, but because I can see that the demographic that really follows it is 35 plus, a lot of 45 to 64s. And that blows me away because that's usually not the way to build your business, but it's very important to us because that's our season ticket holder. And so we have a large pool of Facebook. That's our most activity, and I wish it wasn't necessarily because that's not the way most businesses want to build their social media marketing campaign. Instagram is definitely more towards the younger generation, right? Because it's a quicker snapshot of video or pictures. We did some very focused things to try and build that a couple years ago, and this last year is that we tried to definitely go to high school football games and follow we have a youth academy baseball team, Northwest Star, and try and use those to kind of pair together. So we definitely want to bring that 18 to 34 out to the park more. But some of those things will happen. This year we're going to a $3. Sorry, that was inflation. That was my bad. That was the Joe Biden mistake. Some teams are stuck on $2, and I'm telling them they're crazy. But we're going to go to a $3 Tuesday menu and beverage. We don't promote beer, out loud, but we sell a lot of beer here. So we're going to go to specials. We think that can help bring in the summer when kids are out of school and the younger generation to the park because they can buy a hot dog or a nacho or whatever for $3. They can buy a 16-ounce cold beverage for $3 instead of $5. It reminds me of, and I use this example of when I was younger, and I used to go out to the Multnomah Greyhound Park.
Oh, yeah.
Out in Wood Village in Gresham. And I would go out with my buddies, and we'd have a cheap cold one, and we'd bet our little $20 that we had at the time on the dogs. But that was a gathering that we went because it made sense from a satisfaction standpoint to us, but also an affordability. Yeah. So maybe that'll help a little bit, but I'm not going to fool myself. Grandparents are bringing the grandchildren. Parents are bringing the kids. The mascot we have, Rally, here in Ridgefield, and Corby up in Cowlitz are the number one brand we have. It's what kids love. It's what our business partners love because we can go out and we can be part of their community events. Mm-hmm. We can be part of their grand openings. But youth is important. And to get back to your answer, we're not going to put a ton of energy into it, although we're focused on it, because it would be a losing proposition for us right now. We just got to keep plugging away on it.
Yeah. I mean, being where you are in Ridgefield and all of the great community and great energy that is present here in Ridgefield, I think your message is right on. But you mentioned beer. I'd be remiss if I didn't piggyback on the fact that you just mentioned beer and beer specials. Ben, you're looking a little thirsty.
I am thirsty.
I knew it.
So, Gus, every episode of Business Over Beer, my lovely wife Angela brings us a mystery beer for us to taste. We call this segment Angie's Mystery Beer. Here's how the game, air quotes, works. You're going to unzip that. There you go. Look and see if...
Is it bagged?
Is it bagged? Is it? Okay, okay, good. Okay. So...
Hey, Angie's a professional.
I'm looking away. I'm like,
So you're going to grab the bag, the bottle. Boom. And you're going to open it. And do you mind bartending for this?
No, I good.
right.
And leave the bag on.
Yes, please. Very good.
don't let us see the
Don't let us see the
the cap.
The cap. Thank you.
I
Just
think
in
I think
case.
she colored it.
Did she?
I think she Sharpied over it. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you one thing. She is
plenty.
she is a professional because she has an ice bag in there too.
Well, she's... So, full transparency, I forgot to even mention the mystery beer, and she texts me this morning saying, "Is today your podcast with the baseball team?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "Look in the beer cooler in the back." She...
Yeah, well,
Wow.
that's why she does what she does for
Yes,
your family.
That's right. That's right. And
Gus, there's a reason why I had you stop. I should have had you stop at half of that, but
Oh, it's that kind.
Well,
Oh, wow.
usually her beers are... what's the term or phrase you use?
they're typically high octane.
motor oil.
Motor oil.
Doesn't have
I never got that instructions. Enjoy.
All right. Prost.
Prost.
I have no idea
no
what
idea.
to say about that.
It's
Well,
See, we should know better than to have these peanut butter stouts. Remember the last time we had peanut butter stout because the peanut butter blows out the palate. So I'm going to have a peanut,
That's
and then
it.
I'm going to try it again. All right,
Kids, don't do this at home. We're professionals.
try this again. Prost.
Prost. Tastes damn near the same to me.
I have no idea.
I mean,
It's not boozy.
it's not. It's for all the kids out there. It's basic.
Yeah.
Yeah, basic.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think it's a
stout.
stout.
Yeah. After tasting the Belching Beaver.
But I am concerned that the peanut butter blew out my palate.
Dang it. You're right.
Well, I mean, it's not bad. It's
hey,
smooth.
it's not
Try
An-
some-
it's
try
not
some caramel
Angie's
corn.
fault.
No, it's not Angie's
I
fault.
just want to be clear so Angie doesn't call me later.
Look in the camera.
It's
Damn it,
not
Gus.
Angie's fault.
I mean, it's good.
None of this would have happened without Angie.
It's good. It's smooth. It's easy drinking. I mean, I feel like it's a garden variety.
Yeah, I have.
stout.
I couldn't.
I don't know. That's my best guess.
Am
All
I
right.
gonna? Am I gonna?
Big
The
reveal.
big reveal.
Big reveal time. What do we got there, Gus?
All right.
Now you can pull the whole thing out. And let us know.
Wild Ride Brew Nut Crusher
Oh, it's
Peanut
another
Butter
pe-
Porter.
That's why.
Maybe that's why.
That's why.
Well, there's a reason why it was tasting like peanut butter.
It's not your palate, by the way, guys.
Wow, we're scary because we're all in the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Well, now your craziness made sense to me. That it tasted like your palate wasn't being
Wow.
That is so funny.
That is hilarious.
God bless you, Angie.
Yeah. Every time.
Yeah.
She picks something.
Yeah.
She knows the game.
Goodness.
And we've had this before.
I thought,
We've
I thought we did.
We've had this before, and I really like this because it's more of an essence of peanut butter than the Belching Beaver.
Yeah,
the
I
Belching
agree.
Beaver is very peanut butter forward. This one is less than the peanut butter
I agree.
porter. But this is more stout than peanut butter. The Belching Beavers is typically more peanut butter than stout.
Agreed.
That's my 2 cents.
Agreed.
All right.
Cool. So I know we talked a little bit about baseball, but I want to talk about specifically baseball in the Pacific Northwest. You touched on it briefly. There's such an amazing culture around baseball in the Pacific Northwest, and there's so many videos and movies about it. And what do you think about the MLB PDX? Do you follow any of that?
Yeah.
And bringing like a Major League Baseball to the Pacific Northwest in the Portland area.
Yeah.
What do you think about that campaign? And is that a way to bring younger people to the game of baseball?
You know, that's a hard question about younger people, because I think the problem is the problem is the problem, right? And I don't know that Portland would fix that problem. Number one is we don't feel affected by that if it happened. We like baseball so much and we believe in it that we think there's room, because it's a different deal. It's a $7 or $10 or $15 ticket here. But we root for it. You know, we've had them out here first year when they were really on their campaign.
Have you really?
Yeah, we had them out. I mean, they tried to go to the local teams, you know, the Portland Pickles and Salem Kaiser Volcanoes at the time, and here, you know, hey, look, you know, I worked for the Blazers for 8 years, and one thing we learned really quick was when we did Rip City static clings, and we did them Rip City static clings, and they were the state of Oregon with a little sliver on the bottom, and we got roasted because there are so many fans of whether it's the Blazers or MLB PDX that live here in Southwest Washington, right? And a good number of season ticket holders at the Blazers. So we had to create a sticker that basically was a dual state sticker, right? So my point with that is that Southwest Washington is super important to any success over in Portland. Timbers, Blazers, MLB PDX. Now, my skepticism says that MLB PDX is awful quiet, and I don't know what that means. You know, that's just me. The way I think about things is that what happened to the momentum, you know, it's a puzzle. You hear about Oakland, you hear about Nashville, you hear about, you know, whatever other cities, Charlotte, whatever. So I don't know, you know, I don't know where it's at. But what I do know is that it would be really positive, you know, for the economy, for the happiness of the pastime coming to this area. So we root for it, you know, if it happens, we're really happy. I just don't know where it sits. I mean, do you?
I mean, you know, we have our membership is called Passages to Success, and we'll have a link to all that. But one of the pillars is growth.
Yeah.
And we have a bunch of small business owners, solopreneurs who are in part of our membership. And the pillar of growth is actually right now. So for me, and I'm just a small business owner, but for me, baseball's biggest challenge is getting out of their own way.
Totally.
And that's like a challenge a lot of us small business owners have, is getting out of our own way. Looking at what our clients are saying, what our customers are saying, and actually putting that out there for everybody else. Because the Major League Baseball is so infuriating. I love the game so much, but it's so frustrating to see these guys just fail. Like every decision they make is like either 10 to 20 years too late or just brutal decisions. I'm going on a rant, but I'm passionate about that.
Yeah.
So the growth of the game itself, I think, would be huge and would kind of get that youth if we focused on kind of what you're talking about, the family experience, getting more younger ideas, you know, to speed things up and not getting so nitpicky on the shift, you know, or things like that. Anyway, I know I'm going on a rant.
Well, I think that's a good segue, because what your organization does, it's bigger than the Ridgefield Raptors or the West Coast League. you guys are committed to the game of baseball.
Yeah.
You guys have a love of baseball, and you guys have this developmental league, right?
Yeah.
And a commitment to the community to try to teach people more about baseball and try to bring that in. Talk a little bit about those efforts and the Northwest Star Academy and how you're trying to develop a baseball culture and a love of the game that you all have and that we all have.
Northwest Star Academy is made up right now of about 5 youth teams from 16U up to college players at just a level below the Raptors. Okay, they're not ready yet for the West Coast League, but they're college players in the area that still need a high level of competition. That team will play 20 WCL non-league games, so they're going to play at a really high level schedule. But, you know, there's a gentleman that passed away, Jerry Gatto, over in Portland, and Jerry was a Central Catholic guy, Cleveland High School coach, and Portland State alum. And Jerry was a enthusiast of baseball at its best, which is down at the park on the corner, like we all did, which was ride our bikes down with our bat and our glove, and either your parents could whistle that far or you knew you had to be back before dark. That's what we grew up with, right? That's gone now because kids can't go. Parents don't want to let kids go down to the park by themselves like that. But Jerry created Northwest Star Academy some 20 years ago. And again, I'm setting this up. I'm not going just on a goose chase here. So Jerry had a vision, and the vision was very simple, and it's what you asked. Jerry's vision was that there was an equality for kids that could play baseball that maybe couldn't afford it. Because what's happened nowadays is you have academies, okay? And that's a dangerous word for us. Somebody here mentioned soccer and their kid.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know, which is that you're going to pay a lot of money for your kid to get trained. And in my view, you might get good training, but you're not going to get any better training than somebody else at a lower price point. It's just that you have a better branded name that you're going to pay to train your kid. Jerry wanted to make sure that two things. One, that kids could keep the love of the game. So if they weren't that kid that was the best high school player yet and the already developed kid that was going to go to college and was going to stand out, that kid would come back and play because that kid was being set aside and he was being tagged as not as good, not as efficient or proficient. So Jerry said, no, every kid should try, if they want, to keep the love of baseball. So they could play for Northwest Star. That was one of the things. And two was that we had a level that if kids were excelling, that we had a responsibility to show that kid off so that kid could reach college and, you know, play in college if that's what the kid wanted to do and he was proficient enough. So that was our vision that we've kept. We scholarship about 10% of our kids that just don't have the funds. We have been in a little bit of a transition. Jerry passed away 3 years ago, and so we took that business over. Jerry entrusted us with it. He could have left it with anybody. He knew that we believed in the vision. Wow. The other thing that Jerry left us was Northwest Baseball Coaches Association. It's a high school coaches convention that is held annually in January. We have college speakers, we have high school speakers, we have professional speakers. Kai Correa, bench coach for the San Francisco Giants, was the keynote this year. And it's the largest high school convention, Oregon, Washington, Idaho. And that's about education and about continuing to teach these coaches how to manage and how to really run their programs, whether it's Little League, high school, or whatever level. So that's the answer, which is inclusion. Look, I'm not trying to act like goody two-shoes here. A lot of people do a lot of good things, and you can pay any price point you want to get your kid trained. A lot of them are overpriced, and it's because there's a brand to it that you believe that will get your kid further. What I know after my kid went through a very successful high school career at Central Catholic, I got to say that, but also was able to get the attention of college coaches. There's a place, whether it's community college, NAIA, Division I, Division II, there's a place for every kid to play baseball in college, and I don't need to spend $10,000 a year to get him trained.
That's right.
Love that. Mic drop.
Yeah.
I was going to say, did you see his passion level?
It was awesome.
We should have led with that. We should have led with that. Gus, everything about our business is around shared experience, right?
Yeah.
We support the small business community, which is why we're here talking to you as a small business owner. And what I'd like to ask you is to share your experience, or to have you share something for other small business owners? What is something that you've learned since you've kind of taken over this business, or something from your past, especially on the growth or the revenue generating side? What is some advice that you would give to other small businesses who are just starting out, that are trying to figure out how to grow a business? What advice would you give them based on your experience?
Yeah, one of the challenges for every small business, as you know, is that you don't have enough expertise in every area of your business. You have to find people that know a little more than you in some of those places, right? So, my boy asks me a question sometimes, and it's a great way to start this. So he always asks me, "Hey, so you've done business with Les Schwab for 30 years at radio and at the Trailblazers, and now Les Schwab supports us, right? Big community partner." And he says, "How do you do that? Because don't you think that after 30 years they get sick of it or sick of you?" And I said, "Thank you for asking, because this is your life lesson. It's about integrity. It's about doing the right thing. It's Les Schwab, there you go, doing the right thing. It's about eating your mistakes. When you have a mistake, eat it. It's about listening. You said that earlier, I think. We have to listen. I mean, my solutions here at the park with my sponsors, whether it's an outfield sign, whether it's a program ad, whether it's a PA mention, whether it's some of that fun stuff in between innings that we do and we partner with clients, that stuff I didn't just sell them that or offer it to them because I thought it was something I should sell. I listened to what their problem is. Is it branding? Is it traffic driving? Is it community partnership? And then give them what I have to offer as a solution. We have a partnership with Waste Connections, as an example, and Pink Lemonade Project. And I know that Southwest Washington's watching, so they probably know what Pink Lemonade is, which is a support for breast cancer. And we last year had a jersey auction. We had brand new jerseys with Pink Lemonade logo, Waste Connection logo. They were all pink, and we auctioned them one night, and everybody bid on them. Our fans did. We gave $10,500 to Pink Lemonade Project. Now, I'm not saying that because of the money we gave. I'm saying it because when I was talking to Cindy Holloway at Waste Connection, and I was trying to, entice her to do something with us, and it took me a little while to corral her, I knew her support and the importance of that to her and to Waste Connections. So I went to her and said, "Here's an idea I've got," and we both loved it. And then we had to build it. So it's listening, it's integrity. It's eating it when you're wrong. If you're wrong, eat it, give the client something back that makes them feel good. This is a lot of community support. This isn't just about people spending money with us and that they're going to sell, 88 cars a day at Dick Hanna dealerships, which is our partner. I don't have NASCAR training, by the way, but but it's not about that. It's about that when they come here, they're reinforced that something that does need financial support to be able to put on is being supported by these small businesses or bigger businesses that care about their community where they live in Southwest Washington, and that, maybe they will buy a car from them. Maybe they'll buy the tires from Les Schwab, whatever. But, so that's kind of my theory. It's the tackling and it's the blocking, the X's and the O's for cliche, of the same way I've done it since the first day I started. If you haven't read a book called Raving Fans, read the book. It's a very short read, and it's this dichotomy about how the client talks good about you, and you don't just appreciate the client because they spent money with you. The client actually becomes your big fan because of the way you give them service and the partner you are. That's the flip. That's the switch. Do I do it every day perfectly? No. But is it in the back of my head?
Yeah. And none of us do. None of us do. And I appreciate the fact that he did blocking and tackling and X's and O's as a baseball guy. So here you go. Gus, man, this has been so great. I wish we had some more time. I hope we can do this again soon. But we got to leave it there for today. But before we go, Ben, It's time.
Man, I can't believe it's time already. It's time already?
It is.
Yeah, it's time.
He's kicking us out of this room at noon, and we
got to hurry up before James O'Neill gets here and takes over for another hour.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
Oh, God, yeah, I don't want to see him.
I don't want to see him either. Let's get out of here.
Let's go. Come on. All right, let's move this along.
All right, Gus, it's time for the final question. Are you ready?
I hope. Is it from Angie?
No, it's not from Angie.
It would probably be only one part if it was from Angie.
Yeah. Get his ass out of here. No. All right. It's a two-part question. You ready?
Got it.
You are invited to throw the first pitch to a baseball game. First question. Who are you throwing that first pitch to? The catcher.
Yeah.
Who's catching it, not the batter,
Yeah.
who's catching it. And two, where are you throwing that first pitch?
Okay. Well, that's going to create a kind of a crazy answer because it's two people, two places, two teams. But I'm going to throw it to Johnny Bench.
Yeah, I'm an old Reds guy, so there you go.
The Big Red Machine.
Greatest team ever assembled.
I'm going to throw it to Johnny Bench, and I'm going to throw it in San Francisco.
Really?
That's my team, the San Francisco Giants.
That's awesome.
Yeah. My family are mostly Dodger fans, and you can't do both. So
Gus, man, thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your experience and sharing your facilities with us. It was super enlightening, and we love what you guys are doing here in Ridgefield, and we hope that you can be the premier family-friendly entertainment for all of Southwest Washington. We've been here. We know what it's like. It's a great experience. It's very affordable, and we thank you for taking the time. If people want to find out more about you and the Ridgefield Raptors, where would you like people to go?
RidgefieldRaptors.com. That's the easiest place. Tickets are on sale. Bring your business or yourself, and thank you for having me, guys. I mean, I know we've been talking about it, but this was really enjoyable. And I appreciate it.
Yeah, you got it. So season opens June 1st. It's a 58-game season, right?
Yeah, 31 at home.
Awesome.
So thank you.
Come on out.
Awesome. Hey, Canope.
Yeah, Ben.
Where can people find Business Over Beer and Passages to Success?
Well, Ben, they can find Business Over Beer and Passages to Success at bizoverbeer.com. That's BIZ overbeer.com. You can find our social media handles there. Great blog post. Our small business community membership, Passages to Success there, and everything you need to know about Biz Over Beer.
Boom. All right. Well, Gus, thank you so much. You are awesome. We're going to do so much more with the Ridgefield Raptors coming. I know we are.
Yep.
It's just a great fit.
We're going to get you out to the park to do some stuff out here.
Yeah. We'll do some TikToks. You're welcome. Thanks so much. Canope, Taylor, people watching, I'm sorry. People listening, you're welcome. We will see you all next time.
Good night.
Business Over Beer is reimagining small business networking, and we're helping business owners be better business owners. Through our Passages to Success program, we're offering live monthly events, one-on-one mentoring, accountability groups, and helping you refine and tell your story. For more information, visit bizoverbeer.com. That's bizoverbeer.com/passages to success. Business Over Beer reminds you to always drink responsibly. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Business Over Beer, a TH3 Entertainment production.